Hello friends, followers and channel members, welcome to another video here in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and in this video today I am going to be giving you my personal top 10 favourite payware airports available for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now this is something that I get asked quite a bit, and of course these are just my own personal recommendations of payware airports throughout Europe, and of course you may have different opinions and of course have airports that I may have omitted, so I would love you guys as well to leave a comment down below letting me know if you either agree or if you have some other top payware airports here in Europe that you think should have made this list. And just before we get started, what am I basing them on? Well, for me, it's about how realistic the scenery is, as well as how well I think it helps keep the immersion as you are approaching the airport and, of course, taxiing around it at ground level. This is not a list of best approaches or anything like that. This is just what I think are the top quality payware airports here in Europe. So let's get started. In first then at number 10, for me it's Dalat, an airport and destination which may get overlooked when you're thinking of places to try and fly to. It's kind of a place which I will not visit too often, but I do think this is a very good airport. I think the scenery from Simulations is really good, and it covers not just the airport but it also covers inside the terminal building as well, but not too much that it's going to affect frame rate performance. The terrain around the airport as well is a little bit different in terms of you've got the mountains and things to think about as you're coming in, so the get-in and the approach isn't straightforward. A great airport and one I highly recommend if you haven't already visited. And the scenery on the approach from both ends of the runway look fantastic. Next then at number 9 for me is Toulouse Airport from Flightbeam. I think they've done a great job here, not just at creating an airport, but what I really like about this is the Airbus factory side of this airport. Yes, Toulouse is the home of Airbus, and here you can see so many aircraft, Airbus aircraft of course, all waiting to be delivered to their respective airlines. These static aircraft are everywhere, although it doesn't mean that FPS aren't bad. It's not a difficult approach. In fact, it's pretty straightforward getting into this airport. 2 parallel runways, but I just find seeing all these aircraft when you're taxiing in and on approach really makes this place look realistic. Next in at 8 for me then, it's Flytampa's Athens airport. I love the detail that this has, and of course flying into Athens is spectacular from a scenery point of view anyway, but there's lots of details in this airport as you're taxiing around that you will see. Quite noticeably is the IKEA, quite iconic when you're on approach to 03 left. Flytampa of course are well known for making high quality payware airports. This airport is of course no exception. There's a few that could have made this list, but for me this is one of Flytampa's best, and just as a general destination it's a great place in Europe to fly to because coming into Greece you have so many different things to see. You've got also lots of little airports that you can fly to around the Greek islands based out of Athens. A great choice. Up next then for me it's, well, quite obvious now from the video. Yep, it is indeed Gibraltar, and of course there is the rock. Gibraltar Airport released not too long ago by RD Presets. Now remember that Gibraltar is already a handcrafted airport within Microsoft Flight Simulator, but RD Presets took this to the next level. The terminal building and in particular the mezzanine is done in great detail, and yes, traffic does indeed cross the runway. This airport of course also renowned for its difficult approach to runway 09, where you have to circle around the rock, and the weather conditions are also difficult depending upon the wind conditions. Can highly recommend this airport. A small airport but great scenery and great place to fly into. In at number 6 then is the first of my British airports, and this is Bristol, a decent EasyJet base, and Pilot Plus are responsible for this particular payware project, and they've done it incredibly well. Bristol Airport itself poses its own challenges. It doesn't have a great long runway, and it's also built at the top of a hill, meaning that usually you'll find it quite gusty getting in. It's also subject to poor visibility at times as well, so auto lands may be required. If you're also departing out to the west, then you get a spectacular departure as the airfield drops away as you rotate. A great choice for those of you who like to fly the low-cost carriers and charter airliners. In at number 5 then for me is another UK airport, this time moving up to Scotland, and it's the first of the purgy airports on my list. Yes, this is Glasgow. Now for me, this airport makes the list purely because of the amount of detail that you find here, and it was perhaps the first of the purgy airports that I realised how much work went into creating a realistic airport. Live on stream once, we literally went through a walk through the terminal, and it was the first time we saw all of these details put into an airport that Purgy had done, literally being able to walk from one end of the airport to the other. As a lot of the airport terminals have glass frontage, it also means that as you're taxiing around and pulling onto stand, you get some great views of the detail that's gone into creating this scenery. For me, this sort of set the original standard that we came to expect from Purgy, and it's no surprise that my next airport is also a Purgy airport. Yes, it's Belfast. Now, I know from chatting with many of you during our live streams that Belfast is seen by a lot of people as being one of the best airports sceneries available for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I certainly do not disagree, particularly when you team this up with GSX and you see all of the passengers walking out to the aircraft. It looks simply spectacular. Again, Purgy did a great job on this airport, both inside and outside, and the fact that you can see all of the details from the apron mean that the work that they've put into it really does get noticed. It's also another great airport to fly into. The weather there can be quite gusty, and if you're on approach from the west, then there's an RNP approach only, so it's going to challenge your piloting a little bit as well. Breaking into the top 3 then now, and we come to Oslo. This airport is created by Orbex, and when this was released there was strict competition from a freeware Oslo airport, available also to download now on flightsim.to. That freeware airport looked incredible, so Orbex really did have to up the game when releasing this Payware edition to make people part with their money. I think they've done amazing with this airport. There is obviously a lot inside the terminal buildings, all completed as well, which you can see from the outside, so it isn't a wasted effort. And you've also got things like the train running around as well. It's not a particular difficult airport to get into. ILS parallel runways make the approach actually rather straightforward. Of course, during the winter months, it's usually quite dark. You've got contaminated runways with snow and things like that, so the weather can be a factor here. But now we've also got an available Payware add-on for the Northern Lights. The scenery here can look spectacular. Time to reveal then my top 2, and to be honest, on a different day these two could quite easily have been placed the other way around. But in second place, I've gone for Purgy's newly released East Midlands Airport. This has taken the sim community by storm, and I don't mind admitting that I think this is such a fantastic airport. I wish EasyJet flew from there. We've done quite a few flights from East Midlands recently, and I'm still not bored of this airport. I'm also still finding new things about it each time I go and explore. There's nothing particularly outstanding or special about this airport apart from it being both a passenger airport but also one of the main cargo hubs here in the UK. All of this, of course, has been finely detailed and placed into the simulator by Purgy. You'll see fantastic scenery whether you're looking inside the passenger terminals or even the DHL cargo centres. The price of petrol and diesel here is also quite reasonable. So this brings me on to my top airport, and of course there really wasn't any other competition in Europe I could think of. Yes, it is of course Aerosoft's mega airport, Brussels. Now, if you're wondering why I have chosen this airport as my top Payware airport here in Europe, it's simply because of the immersion factor. Yes, it's got all of the internal terminal details done, as well as a decent cargo centre. Everything is placed and perfectly aligned to a T, in line with the real airport. But What gets me about this airport is everything that is going on in the airport. It is a bustling place. There's vehicles everywhere, cargo bins, there's just so much going on that it is exactly like a real airport. It is never stood still. When you're on approach to the airport and you can see vehicles bustling around everywhere, or once you've landed and you're taxiing to or from the gate and seeing the hive of activity going on, then you really think that you are there. And this is the first scenery, I think, that does this airport environment really well. We see it also with Perugia's East Midlands Airport, lots of things going off there too, but Brussels is just much bigger and of course much busier. If we had lots more going off at other airports, as well as all the amazing scenery that we've seen in this video, then I think that would really help boost the immersion factor. Of course, it usually means that you are going to get an FPS hit, so it is perhaps something that the developers would have to factor in and be able to let us tone down if we don't require it. But yes, Brussels for me in Microsoft Flight Simulator is the airport that makes me think that, yeah, I could actually be there. So now it's over to you guys. I'd love to hear what your comments are on this video, the airports that I've selected, or if you think I've missed one, please do let me know in the comment section down below. Bear in mind, of course, we are only talking about airports in Europe for the moment in this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, then please don't forget to leave a like, and of course if you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos or of course our live streamed flights. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all again in the next one. Bye bye for now.